All
Hey,
right.
Jeff.
And we're up. We're up and going. All right.
This is just us talking because we haven't talked in a while. No
Yeah, it
real
has.
agenda.
It's been like 8 months or something like that, probably.
It's been a bit.
Honestly, I just got so
It's-
burnt out. I got so burnt out.
we did.
Yeah, dude. It's just like, and then so much stuff is going on. And it's like,
I got
you
burnt out on politics in general, but I didn't get burnt out on this. But maybe it's different when you're on the hosting side.
yeah, I was just kind of like, oh my God. It's just like, I don't know. I just kind of got worn. I was gone for like 2 weeks, I think, or 3 weeks.
Well, it was like a month. You had to do something. I can't remember what
Yeah.
happened. You had a visitor,
Yeah. Or
and then after
went
that,
on a
you had to move,
vacation.
and yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. We had I had a lot of stuff going on at the time. But news of what has happened since then, I mean, it's almost a blur for what happens, whatever happened prior to um, Trump's assassination, first assassination attempt,
right.
right?
I mean, stuff changes so fast that there is unfortunately not enough hard drive, not enough RAM to keep track of all the stuff that's happening because you have
Yeah.
to change your perspective so frequently that like that old information is useless in some
Yeah.
ways. I mean, it's useful in creative in terms of creating a story or a big picture, but uh it's like things change so fast. It's 5 years and 3 months. Every 3 months is like 5 years. It's just crazy.
Yeah. I mean, so let's see. I mean, I guess should we try to kind of like walk through like kind of what has happened?
Sure. I mean,
Um,
honestly, my farthest memory is probably the Trump assassination. I maybe it's a little before that, but
I can kind of get to like Biden and like
okay,
right a little bit
there we go.
before the debate, right? Which the
Yeah.
debate actually happened was did he get shot after
Mm,
or before? He got shot
Um, after.
after the debate.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like the next weekend because I
Right.
remember all the commentators were having like um
And this was like 2 months ago.
yeah, it was 2 months ago. Yeah,
Jeez.
or a month and a half even. It was like July something, right? Wasn't it like the 29th or something? July 29th? I don't remember.
13th, I think.
Oh,
Or
okay.
no, 15th.
I thought no, I guess it's pretty
August,
easy.
July 13th. No, or the 15th, something like that. Because it was yeah, it was the 13th. Because this one was latest one was the 15th, right?
Sounds about right.
Well, so I mean, so I can kind of get back to where everybody was kind of like, hey, we're concerned, and it's kind of has been a running thing of like we're concerned about Joe Biden's cognitive abilities. Like we had been talking about that for a long time prior, and then he has the debate, and it basically just he gets completely exposed.
I want to add something about that prior. So the table setting prior to the debate is when people were talking about the idea of maybe Biden not being there, who would replace him, all that kind of stuff. They're saying like, well, we can't because of this Kamala Harris problem, right? There's a
And
Kamala
the
Harris
funds,
problem, right,
yeah,
that
the
they had to
funds.
deal with. And so that's why they can't remove him because then Kamala Harris would feel snubbed if we picked someone who we really wanted, right? That was the conversation.
Well, it was I guess even to add on to that a little even a little bit more is um oh, God, I hate when I'm talking and then it loops back around.
Oh yeah.
What was it even about? The Kamala oh the funds and all that stuff. So like if she basically they had to prevent her from being able to get from or prevent a primary. So that, because if they had opened it up to the primary, then all of those funds from that were going to Biden is just gone. They can't, they have, so their only real option, if they want to be able to have the campaign funds, is Kamala Harris. And so the only way to force that situation to happen, really, if you think about it, the only way to force that situation to happen is if you have extraordinarily early debates that
Yeah.
take place before the prime, or that take place after the primaries have finished. So there is nobody else. And then the candidate drops. So Biden exits for under this situation, mysterious, strange, suspicious circumstances. And then they can basically just really use politics to force Biden to remain, or to back Kamala Harris. Because when you look at that letter that got sent over Twitter,
Yeah. No, it's they
very
already don't
bizarre.
like Trump and they don't like to credit Twitter as anything.
Yeah.
But Twitter is the place where people go to post politically relevant things. You
Yes.
can't post something on Instagram or Instagram or Facebook or anything like that. You can't
But the
post something
letter
there.
had a weird signature. It came out of the blue. He didn't
Um,
say
I
anything. There
don't think the
wasn't a
signature being weird has anything to do with it. I think that he's been being signed for forever anyways. So like
yeah, but like a signature like that. I feel like there's some things,
so it was
more
really
official things
weird
like that. I feel like you
for
should.
sure. It was really weird and obviously it was an ousting and I think that
Yeah.
I mean, this is it's all conspiracy theory stuff, but to me it felt like that was them posting that. He didn't have to say, he didn't have to give up. You know what, sir? You're out, and we say, and you say so. And they put it out there
Yeah.
because he wouldn't, and then they just didn't put him in front of the camera until they got it all sorted out after the fact.
That's what I
And so,
think happened, more
right,
or
and so
less.
I think they just basically did a coup and
Yeah.
got him, and then said, okay, so this is what's happened, and this is what we've done to you. Yes, sorry, but not sorry. This is what had to be
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. This is what had to be
After he
done.
recovered from that, then he finally came out and did audio endorsements, or he had that phone conversation with her and stuff. So they ousted him.
Well, and in exchange, um, they were going to talk extraordinarily positively about him.
Yeah,
They were just, oh, his legacy, it's incredible. It's such George Washington. This is a George Washington-esque
yeah,
decision to choose to step down.
yeah. Because the week and a half before that, which was basically all the time after the debate, um, they're all talking shit. They're all
Oh
there.
yeah.
Everyone was in various levels of like, oh my god, what have we done? We can't have this. And in fact, now this is part of a conspiratorial. This is kind of a little bit of fast forward, but when I'm saying there is Ramaswamy is even saying now that the idea that yeah, well, that's part of the plan because what you need to do is you need to give credibility to the media for them being
Mhm.
able to say, hey, look, we're talking shit about candidates too, about we do both sides. We were talking how Joe Biden shouldn't be there. So
Mm.
they had that legitimacy, like a little bit of legitimacy adding to
Like,
their
here's a
credentials.
moment where the media is able to be honest,
Yes,
and they can
exactly.
say, "Hey, Biden is pretty bad. This was
Yeah,
like a concerning debate. This isn't like he lost the debate. This was like a concern
yeah.
for your ability to continue, kind of a deal." You know?
So it's all part of a web of some of it is strategy and some of it's damage control, and I'm sure there are different people that are trying to make different decisions different ways. I'm sure there's different factions trying to make things happen different ways. I'm sure there are many people that didn't want to choose, didn't want Kamala to be the girl. Um,
Oh, they're having a rough time with her too. So I guess we can kind of move forward
yeah,
in time to Kamala Harris entering.
yeah,
Um, and her whole thing, it when it launched, it felt fake to me. When it um just when I look at all the rallies and stuff, it none of it looks real. None of it looks genuine. It looks like a bunch of people who feel as though they have to put on a happy face because like none of these people, like, one, nobody has any real like
Enthusiasm, right?
there's no real enthusiasm. There's no real like nobody can talk about anything positive of even what she's done.
They did a
There's no
great
rationale.
Hollywood craft of the Brat
Right.
Summer. And they're like, yeah, it's a party. We're gonna do this. We're gonna stop this evil Donald Trump. Orange man bad. We are here to save. They have this production, this cruise ship stage production that they're doing, and it was actually successful for a bit.
It does. It looks very impressive, and they have an incredible strategy. Honestly, it's an incredible strategy to have like the show, and you get these celebrities to come out, which brings the people out, which helps to bring the people out. But unfortunately, the candidate that they're all backing just has like it's like negative charisma. It's like, I mean, when you're watching her kind of talk and speak, like there's just kind of like there's a lot of elements of like, man, she's really fighting through anxiety here. She's really uncomfortable. Her hand movements, she kind of has the drunk hand movement thing.
Nervous laugh whenever she gets confronted with something that's too hard. She's like,
right. Her laugh is a big thing.
It's dismissing. It's like brushing it off. Like, oh,
right.
You.
But that's even concerning too. Is that she's having to not laugh, right?
Right. So and she's done a really good job with that on the debate.
She has, but you also kind of have to ask the question of like, okay, so we are now forming the projection of who she is, who she appears to be to us. So when we see her, we don't know who she is because she's acting. She's in full on performance mode because she can't laugh. If she was able to laugh, at least I would know like this is her brain. This is her operate. She's operating. But because they kind of took that away from her, now she's just really awkward. She was awkward before, but in kind of like a clumsy yet appealing way in some way, right?
The thing that says it best is that fake commercial, the AI commercial that Elon Musk have. That whole segment about talking about, I like to talk Mr. about insignificant things as if they're significant, and I think it's actually significant. The fact that I even discussed these insignificant, whatever, it was some sort of circular. That explains, like, her.
That's how she operates.
She tries to go into intellectual mode on people and try to be a deep, like, I'm gonna impart some life wisdom here, but she doesn't have any life wisdom in that. I mean, maybe she has some somewhere, but the conversation that she's having is not life wisdom. Right. She's just trying to go from one word to the next to get through to her to try to find where this is going to end up. Like, she's trying to figure out a way out of this paragraph.
Yeah, it's a short loop. It's a short loop. It's often self-referential.
And now I will say Trump does that too, but it's different. He does have this kind of, he has these things where like, oh, because it's the best, it's the worst, or whatever. I'll talk about things and people asking more details. Oh, because it's the best. He'll kind of say the same things in the same line over and over again. And say, well, you've got to, because, and he says the same thing over and over again. But that is at least like a call and response thing. And with her, she just gets into a random conversation about nothing, and she just elaborates upon it until she can find her way out of the woods. She just wants to she's just trying to get out of this sounding like she's a smart person and end up somewhere new, like it's an adventure. Adventure with words, where she's just going through.
She doesn't really know where she's going. She just
exactly when
knows the starting point.
When Trump does it, he just goes back to his tried and true stuff while he's thinking about what he's going to say next or whatever
Well,
else. It's more of like an and or or something. And hers,
so
it's just like, I don't know what it is. I mean, I don't
yeah,
think she has any destination. I think she's just
yeah.
just
Trump's
on an
is
adventure.
Trump's is more like he can start here and he knows he's going to get here, and this is the direct path to it. But he goes on his way there, he explains something, or he mentions somebody, and then he goes off on a little tangent and he says, "Oh, this person is so good about this and this and this," and then he might branch off from that and say, "And this and this and this is kind of, and
And
these
he
are the
may not even
accomplishments."
end up at the original topic,
And
actually.
which references the original point that he's getting to, and then he brings it back down, and then he continues the story. And maybe there's another person
Right.
or there's another event, and he'll loop off of that, and maybe he'll, on that end, he'll grab this person, be like, and this person was, and they worked together and they were doing this,
Yeah.
like, all the way up until he can
You
make
can
his final
see
point.
what's
He's
happening
weaving.
and why he's doing it, even when sometimes he doesn't hit points like you'd like him to. You see his brain is stirring, you know what he's doing, and you know that sometimes he's operating a lot off of gut, but he just doesn't quite hit the branches that you think are most effective. Like he has this general idea. But her, I don't see how she has it. She has whatever lines she's memorized, but otherwise than that, the words are random. She's spitting out random
Yeah.
words to try
She's
to.
in she's in Marco Rubio territory, 2016 Marco Rubio, where you just revert to that one line. Do you remember that when he did that in the debates? And
I don't. I mean, I'm sure I would remember it if I saw it,
oh
but
my god, it was so crazy. What's the
um,
big dude's name? The fat dude who's not
Christy,
fat? Chris Christie. He called him out on it. It was absolutely incredible. I'll have to send that to you.
I
He
watched them all, so I'm sure I saw. I feel I
Yeah.
don't remember. I'll remember when you show it. Sure,
Yeah,
but
he yeah, and it was because he just like reverted back down to like, these are the talking points. Like, I need, like, he's there's the point that there's the point that she needs to get to, and she can't really get there. So she kind of branches off, and then she's like, "Oh, I don't really know what to do, so just end the conversation."
yeah.
And then people are left wondering, like, "But you didn't even address this. You didn't talk about anything. Like, what is your
Yeah.
plan? What's your purpose? Like, why do you? What can you do?" I mean, the question in her recent interview, what was it? The last question was like, "Why do you think that you like? Why do you want to be president?" Is effectively the question, and she's like, starting when I was young, I wanted to, or what can you do to improve the country? Well, I want people to, basically, in essence, I want people to be able to get things because they work for things. Like, that's in
I mean,
essence all that she really said.
right. And the thing that politicians tend to do when they don't have any, well, they do it anyways because politics are too complex as a feature. It's not a bug; it's a feature. They're too complex. And so they just identify with problems that people have and
Yeah.
empathize. So saying like, like we need to, it's like our prices are too high or whatever you want to say. You want to identify all these
We'll
problems
control those prices if these
and then
prices are
saying we'll
too
fix it.
high.
Or they might say something like we'll fix it, but like that's like Donald Trump's going to make them worse and we're going to make them better, right? It's politicians in general do that type of thing because most people don't actually understand the intricacies
Yeah.
of everything because it's so complex on purpose because they want people to elect kings and just or monarchs or whatever else like they want everyone to be like so disinterested in wielding their own power by keeping tabs on people and just be like, I give the power to you and you do it. This is too annoying and politics suck. And so it's basically it's a feature that is so complicated
Yeah.
so that people can have power and you just have a bunch of plebs that you can try to use 90-second sound bites to have vote for you. So
Yeah.
you want to get people on board with something, some red meat, something or other,
I don't like
or like
that though,
or
because then you
identifying
just
with a
end up,
problem and
when
or
we do that, we just end up with shells of people
yep,
who are representatives of a shadow force. who's
They're
effectively
representatives.
pulling the strings of the government. Like, because that individual, we now know that individual is not running the country. Like,
Yeah,
I know that Kamala Harris would not be running the country.
right.
She
You just be a
her
continuation of whoever's running it right now.
right. And it's kind of interesting. I heard when Putin endorsed Kamala Harris, I was like, okay, yeah, I mean, I think that's really tongue in cheek and all this stuff, but and he really does want, and I think he does want, like, he does actually want Trump, because Trump is going to end up bringing the peace, but he also kind of understands that, like, look, when we look at moments in time and like what we can kind of do and accomplish, having Kamala Harris there, um, it enables him to continue pushing into Ukraine. Like, he's basically done one wave, one big push into Ukraine. And so she remains, and he can just be like, okay, I'm gonna carve off this little bit. I'm gonna carve off this little bit, and just ride the waves and feel out, like, okay, how can we kind of avoid nuclear war? Because we're not going to get into nuclear war with Kamala Harris.
Yeah,
I don't think we actually would.
I love the breakdown that I've heard of people over the months, right? But it was reiterated today in that podcast I was listening to. I think RFK was mentioning here, but I've heard many other people say it. The idea of the Ukraine situation and Russia situation, the U.S. is kind of the bad guy in this situation.
Yeah.
Where, I mean,
We're not on moral high ground.
right. It's the reason why the Cold War ended and the East and West Berlin, the wall was taken down, was during Gorbachev, and one of the requirements was that we say that not 1 inch further east are we going to move our NATO or
Our NATO.
was it NATO at the time? I don't remember, but
Yeah.
um NATO is not supposed to. Kind of like we don't want missiles in Cuba
Yeah.
to be able to be in range. They didn't want us to push our influence any further over than we were. If we agreed that Ukraine will be basically neutral, or we don't
We
influence
don't
farther
cross
east.
into
That was part of
Ukraine,
the
never
condition.
becomes NATO.
And over the last 15 years, we've just been pushed. We pushed
Yep.
over several cities, for several states at
Yep.
this point, several countries, and we have this like our method of control is just we are actually trying to put the squeeze on Russia still, even though we said we weren't going to. And so there's all
Well,
that pressure that
Biden said
Russia is
we
actually
were.
dealing with, even if it's bad, even if like they do things in bad ways or they have some evil, whatever, even if Putin's horrible, whatever else, there's a lot of justification they have, and we are not innocent. And we've been propping
Mhm.
up Ukraine. It's been corrupt for years and years. Yes, the people of Russia, the people of Ukraine, just like people of the United States, we are all basically pawns in all this.
Yep.
We are not. It's not like Russian people are bad or Ukrainian people are bad or Americans are bad. It's this game that's being done by our kings and queens, and the pieces
Yep.
are out there doing things, and it's despicable. So that's why I don't like the Ukraine thing, and it's mostly because I think that we're not good in this. We need to end it, and I think that's where Trump will get his solution from. I
Yeah. I
think
mean,
he'll pull it
I
from
think
that
he's going
pool
to
of
be able
ideas.
to. He's going to end it rather quickly. I think. I honestly don't think there's going to be any real issue in that. I kind of have been looking at Biden and just being like, why isn't he even having the conversation? He's not even trying to.
Yeah, there
He
was a treaty.
refuses to.
There was a treaty that was signed that Biden demanded that they rip up.
Yep.
This was whatever month, a year ago now, probably.
Maybe
Because
almost two, maybe.
yeah, it's been a while.
This
There was a
Ukraine
treaty
war
they
has
had to
been
rip
going
up,
on
and
for a long
it would have been
time.
over. But Biden just decided that nope, we need to win against Russia or something instead of just taking the no more casualties route.
Yeah. I think
I
we
mean,
have.
Ukraine was going to have their own sovereignty. They were going to just have share control over a certain region. I can't remember all the details of it, but basically they agreed to it. So that's where we should have been. But, I mean,
Yeah.
there's no reason why we spent like whatever now, like $170 billion out there, or whatever the number is.
It's absurd. And how we went from, we basically just bounced from Afghanistan war into Ukraine. So it was like, hey, we're no longer wasting all this money in this forever war. Instead, we're putting it into this other useless war.
And there's so much money that we can't put a finger on where it's at.
It's really funny because I kind of look at like, okay, Trump is kind of coming in and he's proposing all these like massive tax cuts where just he's like, okay, yeah, you know what, tips, like you're not having to pay tips, so that's an income source that's not that he's not having to pay. Then there's the overtime tax, no tips
Just
on
for
that.
your information, people are not paying taxing tips right now
For overtime for federal.
Well, no,
there's a federal income tax,
right? If you're a waiter or waitress,
yeah,
I mean, you're probably getting tipped really badly every single night, right?
Yeah.
What I'm saying is they're pocketing and all of it anyways. But yes,
sure,
it'd be nice. It'd be nice to be in the good graces while you're doing that.
If you're running 100% legitimate business, right, and you're following the rules by the book, like this, no tax on tips is a pretty sweet deal.
It is. I worry about
same with overtime. No tax on overtime. That is great.
That's kind of ridiculous.
That's great. That's a huge boost because that means you're still getting taxed on your regular income, but then when your overtime income hits, it's like you're not paying any tax on that. Right?
I like the idea in general that yes, I do like reduction tax. I just don't want to. I hate giving things away for free to get constituency groups. In some ways, I have a visceral reaction to it, even though yes, I do.
I mean, I can understand why you might see it that way. To me, this just appears to be a Republican thing. Lower taxes, getting rid of taxes.
I'm fine with that. Grow your way out of it. Have lower taxes.
Yeah.
But I wish it were. I wish it were significantly lower, but also everyone had to pay, or else you can't vote. In some ways, like you almost have to have a skin in the game. Like I'm a little bit crazy there, but meaning like I don't think you should be able to vote like at least on issues of how much they get taxed, right? You shouldn't be able to say
like you can vote on how much I get.
They need to pay more taxes. I'm not paying any, but they need to pay more.
Yeah,
it didn't sit well with me. So I understand it sounds crazy. It sounds like you're going back to the landowners only vote type of thing, and I'm not exactly. It's just more that I think you need to have skin in the game. And I think you should probably have a certain level of intellectual understanding about what you're voting for. You shouldn't just be able to pull apart a ticket for I think you should be invested by having to show up on poll day and be willing to wait in a 3-hour line to vote. Like it needs to be that level of like, not just like
you should have to want
collecting your ballot that they basically fill out for you.
Like it's not. I guess if you don't put value in the vote, then there's not really much value in the vote. But if you put value in the vote,
right, it has to have
then it
value
matters
to be valuable.
Yeah,
and that's why this is the whole rabbit hole of things. But it's just I don't like the idea of voting just for the sake of voting. Everyone should vote. No, everyone should be informed and then vote. It shouldn't be just that everyone votes. And I don't think that you should.
Because that's just ignorant. That's just voting ignorance. That's just propagandist voting. You're voting on who picked you.
They're just picking a jersey, a red or blue jersey, and voting on it.
Yeah.
So but it's anyway, like that was a big
when I look at all the Trump taxes and all that stuff, and I was thinking about all of these, like, okay, well, how's the government going to keep up with this? Like, we're in so much debt. We have to balance our budget better. We got to do all this stuff. And then it's like, well, if you think about it, we're going to be going in. Trump is going to go through and destroy tons of departments,
If
end these wars.
this is so exciting. I mean, the exciting part is if the whole Elon Musk's thing is really
Oh my God.
put into place where he's going efficiency report, and this is another pipe dream of mine, but is like it's like porn to me, is the idea that okay, Elon Musk obviously he has businesses to run. He can't be there all the time. He can be a figurehead and he can lead and he can bring his thought to it. But when he's not there, Vivek Ramaswamy is the one that's administrating that. And say that to me is like that is what we need. Is Vivek is in that specific position. That would be fantastic.
I gotta say, man, like I've been looking at the roster.
Oh yeah.
This roster, I look at it and I can't. The words like founding fathers, kind of a thing, like that vibe.
That's true.
I'm getting that vibe. So it's almost like a revitalization or like a revitalization of it, a second coming of it. Like right at the brink of like, okay, it's either gonna go left or it's gonna go right. It's going one of the two.
So someone
we gotta decide.
In the podcast I was listening to today, it was either Brett Weinstein or actually no, it was Jordan Peterson that said this idea that I hadn't thought about. I don't know why it's so easy that basically the Republican Party, all that group are all disaffected Democrats.
Yeah.
Like Trump used to be a Democrat.
Yep.
And
RFK,
Tulsi Gabbard.
Vivek Musk was libertarian. Elon Musk.
Right. Basically, everyone in there are
no one is a Republican.
Going
is an
to
original
where the
Republican.
ideas are going now. Like when you have freedom of speech being under attack for political convenience, people are like, hey, yeah, but I was on the freedom of speech team. Yeah. And you guys are not there anymore, so we're going to go to the freedom of speech team. So it's more complicated than that, but it's interesting how that is what it's compiled of now. It's former Democrats. It's not even like, oh, the most conservative, the far right wing. They label like, oh, the far right wing crazies. It's like, what are you talking about? It's the most moderate Republican like policy set that there's
ever been. This is I actually struggle to find Republican like policies that I disagree with nowadays.
Yeah.
There's some that are like more on the extremes that are pretty easy to kind of be like, okay, no. But
you know what? It's off the table though, is the abortion one, because it's left of the states. So in a national election, it shouldn't. I mean, it'll still linger. They'll still use it as a wedge issue.
There's going to be a growing pains with it.
But it's not necessarily, not with Trump this time at least. He's like, I'm not doing anything with it. I wouldn't sign it, whatever else. I'm not doing anything with it, whatever. So
it's up to the states, yeah.
So even though that I'm an advocate for getting as close to zero as possible, and most Americans would be somewhere in the 12 to 16 week range or something or whatever it is. That's not even an issue that we even have to contend with. Yeah, it's just basically off the table. It's in the hands of the states. So I think we are with freedom of speech and medical freedom, and it's neat that RFK has brought to the table the medical
health
aspect, like the childhood health and obesity that has been brought front and center, which I like. Because it is true that we are a fat society when we didn't used to be, and he said it a funny way, said like, you know what, it used to be if you saw fat guys, it was like you had to go to the circus.
Yeah, you were in the circus if you were this fat.
Like it's like, but now it's everywhere. It used to be like, oh, there's the fat man, like that was not the way things were back in the 50s.
I busted up laughing when he said that.
Yeah, I know.
They were in the circus.
Awesome when he said it, and it was funny. but he wasn't being funny about it. He was being dead
Mm-hmm.
serious, and I believe him.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you see anything videos from the past, everyone was. I mean, food wasn't as plentiful as it is now, where people just have candy bars for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and also then just nonstop food. Like me, I'm getting got 200 pounds on me instead of 185. So
Yeah.
everyone's just glutton. And so I like that he brought that up. I like that he added that to the table. I like that there is a coalition of smart people that have different ideas that are kind of more mavericks that are coming forth. Like I said, Elon Musk, RFK, and Tulsi.
Well, I think everybody kind of has like what I love about it is everybody kind of has their lane. Everybody has their
Yep.
kind of specialty. And so, and everybody agrees on the same general base principles. So how I'm kind of viewing a lot of this stuff right now is you've got Trump, who's like the head target guy, who's basically going to kind of be the guy that enables. He's going to take all the shots from the media and all the BS,
Yep.
and he's going to enable all like Tulsi, RFK, Vivek, um, Devin Nunes, Cash Patel, whoever else, like these, because there are names that aren't even being talked about right now that
Yep.
I am ridiculously excited for. Like Devin Nunes, like I don't know,
I
AG,
don't know who he is.
Attorney General, Devin Nunes sounds pretty cool to me. I don't know.
I don't know who the guy is. I probably have seen him before, but I don't remember who he is.
So he was a congressman or senator, one of the two, who headed the investigation into the origins of the Russia collusion story. Boy, that was a mouthful of a sentence. Um, so yeah, so he's basically the guy who was like going in and like
So he's
looking
like
at
an
the evidence.
investigative journalist, kind of.
No, he was in Congress or the Senate.
So he was like a Trey Gowdy when he was in there, type of thing.
Yeah, he was like the top guy. Like he was the
Okay.
head of of a committee that was investigating um,
I,
the Russia collusion
yeah.
trial, like how it came to be that Trump got put onto Russia on trial for Russia.
I used to love
He
me some Trey Gowdy, by the way.
Yeah. Well,
Love him.
if you didn't know about Devin Nunes,
I,
wait
I'm
till
sure I've
you
seen it
figure about it.
interviewed, but that has not been. That doesn't sound even exciting to me.
Do you know Cash Patel?
Yeah, I know who he is. I don't. I'm not. He's
Okay, you
not
just
in
don't
my
know much about
radar of
that.
people that
Yeah,
I
this
pay
radar.
attention to that much.
He
I know who
hasn't
he is.
been on the radar since 2020. He's been off
Yeah.
since 2020.
I know I've seen him on Tim Pool. I know I've seen him.
Hmm.
But he does.
He runs Truth right
There
now.
are yeah. There are so many people that I know their names, but there are too many people to keep track of. And there's a certain point where you just kind of you pick some lanes.
Yeah,
You pick some lanes and learn about certain things, and you just trust that that other people are investing in other lanes.
yeah.
Like you just
Like
like okay,
Thomas Massey. I didn't know anything about Thomas Massey,
yeah,
but I heard like from several people, like,
that he's fantastic.
oh
Yeah,
man, we need more people like Thomas Massey. Like, if we could create I think Tim Pool was like, if we could create a clone machine, we should just create a bunch of Thomas Masseys and just elect them into office. Um, so yeah, I mean, there's certainly people that that are not on my radar, but it's like, it's pretty, I'm really excited because I really do feel like there's a great opportunity for unity because all of the values that we really have are like old Democrat values. Like when you look at Tulsi Gabbard and Vivek Ramaswamy, like those are ex Democrats who are taking their values and bringing those values with them
Mhm.
to us. So it feels a lot like what's happening right now is we are the Republicans, which I don't even like saying us because I don't like regarding myself as Republican, but I more identify with Trump.
Yeah.
But
I changed ever since I think this the second thing of Bush, I've always called myself a conservative. I never say
A Republican.
Republican, honestly.
Yeah. But
I
like
do sometimes, but it always feels dirty to say so. I almost feel like I don't want to say that.
I know.
It's
Well,
because
since
it's also
Bush
I don't like
ruined
the
it for
party.
me.
I don't like the party line type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have to, I like ideas. I like
Mm-hmm.
ideas that are good. And in theory, someone of another party can have a good idea. And the reason why they don't is not because they don't have those, or it's because they can't have those. It's because you're divided now. It's like, well, okay, no, we can't have that position because the Republicans have that position. So
Mm-hmm.
we instead do this, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So it's unlikely to find things a la carte on the other side when you're dealing with that.
Mm-hmm.
When it's all so polarized. But I am an idea person. If someone says an idea I like for instance, I don't like with Trump, I don't like the tariff strategy, and I don't like the IVF thing. Those are the two major things I can think of. I don't like when he just gives out constitutionally stuff and the tariff policy.
Oh, that reminds me of stuff I found. There's new things that I found that I don't like about Trump,
Yeah,
which is
I
very
like to
rare.
find things like that. Right, I
Yeah,
like
I'm
to
excited about it. I'm like,
understand
ooh.
myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you think of any of them or no?
Yeah, there's one that I was like, I stopped in my tracks. I literally heard him say it, and I stopped in my tracks for probably 20 seconds, and then I rewound it, and I listened to it again, and I was like, no way. And then I listened to it like a third time later, and I was like, okay, he kind of covered his tracks a little bit, but still, no, I think that this is all just rhetoric, which is what it was, is that he wants to put people in prison for a year if they burn the American flag. And
it was rhetoric. I know what you're saying. No,
yeah,
he's
that's what
more
I've
talking
concluded.
about his feelings in that situation.
Right.
He's more being like saying that is a crime against America.
But
That's his
yeah,
mind. But yes, he does need to be careful with that type of thing.
yes, it's just I think it kind of the way he kind of talked about it is, he's pointing to congressmen, he's pointing to people and saying, yeah, this is something that I think we should do. We're going to be doing this kind of a thing, right? And that is very concerning to me. Like I always think about I don't know if you watch Futurama, but there's an episode where Zoidberg, which is this weird crab lobster alien creature, he lives on Earth, and it's Earth Day, and he's so happy and proud to be a citizen of Earth that he eats the flag. He takes a bite out of the flag, and everybody gets up in arms, and they get pissed off about him, and a whole war breaks out because he took a bite out of the world flag.
Right.
And eventually it kind of comes down to this like kind of realization of like, it's the simple fact that because I have the freedom to burn or eat this flag, that is the exact very reason of why this country is so good.
Sure.
And so it really was a gut shot to me. I mean, it stunned me for
totally
20 seconds. I was just,
and I would be cringing that also, but like he also did say lock her up too. So I mean,
there's stuff like rhetoric of like lock her up is like a rhetoric, but like
the other one seemed like
a declaration where he says, we will lock you up for 1 year in jail for burning the American flag. We need that. We should do that.
Like that.
People say it's not constitutional. I think it is. I think it's something that our Congress should look into.
Did he say that strongly?
I basically reenacted it. And
of course he would.
And it brought me some
that all the time where he does it. He ends up walking things back too. He's talking his emotions out and he's being forceful with it. And then he'll go back and realize either someone says something to him, or he'll go back, or he'll hear it another time and say, and then sometimes he'll come back and say like, it's like, no, we really should do something, but we can't because we're an American. Blah, blah, blah. So like he'll embrace it again, kind of, but then he at the same time will dismiss it. Like he'll be like, it's like, but we really can't, like because blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
He
I
does it
can't
all the
say
time, which is fine, I guess, but I just don't like it.
I don't, I don't think that he would actually do it.
No,
I
no,
think that
he wouldn't. He would be very
I
unpopular.
think Vivek Ramaswamy would sit him down and be like, "So the answer is no. Are you willing to accept that, or do you want me to explain to you exactly why?" And either way works for me, but I don't think that that's something that's. I don't think that that's an end actual concern that is like truly applicable. Like, but I probably would film myself like once it gets passed wearing like a "Make America Great Again" hat and burn an American flag and be
Right.
like, I support Trump, so come lock me up then. Come put me in
Yeah.
jail because I love this country, and I'd basically reenact Zoidberg,
Yeah.
and just, hey, I can do this, and the very reason that I'm able to do it is why it's so great. And if you're shitting on that and you want to throw me in jail, there's something seriously
Yeah.
wrong. Yeah. Um, okay, so now where are we? Are we even at the? Did we get through the Trump assassination
I
attempt?
mean,
We didn't
I
even
I
touch the Trump
forced us I
assassination
forced
attempt.
us forward like 3 times, and we
Oh,
keep
no
on
worries.
bouncing
We can
back.
always go back. Hey, we weave. See, that's what we do. We
Yes.
weave.
Yeah, yeah.
um,
So I don't know where we were in the progression of things. I mean,
I think it was the Trump assassination attempt because we never
oh,
even
that's a good place to start.
because
Yes, to go back
it
to now.
went, yeah, Biden's cognitive, Kamala enters the race, Trump gets shot. Um, I guess the one of the big questions is, where were you when it
I
happened,
know exactly where I
or where
was.
you
I
found
I
out?
I messaged you, and you didn't know about it. I told you, I found out, like, 8 minutes after it happened, and then I messaged you, like, 3 minutes later after I kinda looked through a little bit,
Yeah,
and then, I don't know
thanks
when
for
you
that.
got to it. I don't think you even saw the message for a while because you were busy.
It was like 2 hours. I was on a road trip. I was
Mm,
driving from Washington to Idaho, and I stopped in. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna put my phone down. It was interesting because, like, usually a lot of what I do is I'll put an earbud in and
yeah,
I'll drive, and I'll just be listening to something. And I was like, ooh, Trump is on. I'm gonna put this on as I get ready to head out and all that stuff. And so, but I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna be, in
present
the
with
car.
your
I'm
girl.
gonna be present. And so I finally get to a town like, an hour away from my destination. And I look at my phone, I'm refilling my gas. So I basically just ran through an entire tank of gas.
Yeah.
Look at my phone. I was like, what did you say? It was like, did you see, like, Trump got shot? Something like that. He's okay.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit. I mean, if I almost kind of like, it would have been interesting if it was like Trump just got shot,
And then no
silence,
conver and then you're like,
silence. And it's like 2 hours, like three, I think it was like 2 hours had gone by the time I had read it.
yeah.
It's like 2 or 3 hours. And so, and then I would be like, what the fuck? And I'd be in a panic, like looking. But
Or, like, if you
I
had
was,
no cell service, you can't even figure it out.
yeah,
No.
yeah. Yeah, because I was going out in the woods in a
Yeah.
cabin. And so if I hadn't checked my phone then, I would not have known.
Yeah.
Probably. Well, actually, I probably would have known because I had gotten the text and I would have been able to at least seen it. But that was where I was. And
I was just home on my couch. I was just watching random YouTube videos, and I was checking my phone at the same time because that's what you do. I was
yeah,
watching, like, some who knows, some random videos on either a video game or something, and then I was checking my Twitter,
yeah,
and I saw stuff on Twitter. It's like, whoa,
yeah. Here, give me a quick sec. I'm
yep.
being called. Hold on.
Why is it so hard? I'm just trying to find out the exact date. Give me the date, which is first shot at. Come on. September 16th. Wait, that's this last one. July 13th. You're muted, by the way.
Jeez, I've been sitting over here jabbering about nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta wrap it up soon. So we'll have to have a part 2 coming up because I gotta go make enchiladas. For some reason, I don't get it, but apparently everybody loves my enchiladas. I don't think that there's anything special about them. They're very simple, easy, but
Okay.
people like my enchiladas, so I got to go make some enchiladas. But I do have a little bit of time to kind of wrap some stuff up, because I feel like we probably should wrap this
Sure.
Trump assassination arc out, right? So, I guess there was like crooks. Um, that was just, I guess that was a wild one.
Well,
Because
you
of how
mean
many,
because of
like
these
all
Secret
of the
Service?
gaps, right?
Well, there's a whole weirdness from the whole scenario of just the fact that like 3 hours beforehand he had a
A
sight finder
rangefinder,
or a distance finder or whatever that is,
the
just meandering,
rangefinder,
and he wasn't arrested right then and there.
or even
Um,
really talked to or looked or
right.
followed,
So there's
or
a lot of
I mean,
weird things
they
like that.
noted him, but that's effectively where it
And
went
the
as
fact
far
that
as it
his
went.
body was cremated like 6 days
It was 10
after
days later.
10 days later.
I saw this other thing and I was like, hold on a second, wait, what? What is going on? And they showed it was here's this other person who like lives is in Arizona who went missing on that day, and he looks like the photo that they showed of the guy who got killed, right? Because you kind of almost think like, and you know, I'm lucky enough to have the foresight to kind of question my own leanings. But it's like, you looked at you look at this one guy and then you look at the crooks and it's like, okay, I can see a similarity or whatever, but some of the points in the recognition between the two of this new guy that they're saying, here's the photo, because the photo of the guy of him when he's dead and he's got blood on his face or whatever, right?
Yeah, but I'm not sure if that's real or not.
Well, they're saying what the claim
You can't
is that
find out
that's
on
not
the internet
actually
very well.
Crooks. They're saying that that's not actually Crooks, but it's this other guy. I
So
can't
I got
remember
all
the
that in
guy's name.
Telegram. Yes, I got the two things. I think that's fake.
It probably is. Yeah,
So um,
but it was an interesting, little weird conspiracy thing.
so I need to find. By the way, I need to find a great Telegram, a channel or whatever it is, room or whatever, where I can get videos that they remove that they don't want for public consumption because they're too insensitive, right? Like for instance,
Sure.
if there's a video of Crooks being shot, I want to see that freaking
Yeah.
video, right?
Oh, I
Or
would
like
love it.
if him laying dead, it's not a matter of me needing to see him get shot. It's like I want to experience all I need to
I want
experience.
the
Don't tell me what
full
I'm
picture.
what I can handle, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I
Don't censor me.
Right,
Yeah.
and so they do that. You can't find a picture of his shot body, even though it exists. You cannot find it anywhere. It's
Hmm.
probably on Telegram somewhere. I don't know where it's at, but like I need to find good, the kind of Discord channels, right? I need to find a good Telegram channel you go into because have you used Telegram before?
Yeah, but not really. No.
Yeah, I haven't. I'm not familiar with it. I downloaded it purely because I saw him be interviewed by Lex Friedman. I said, like, "You're freaking awesome. I love you."
Hmm.
Because he's all about his personal security and like he's not trying to share stuff. So that's the reason why I got arrested too, is because he was providing too much cover for illegal activity, because he
Just
wouldn't
in
like
the nature of his app. It's not
yeah.
that he provided it,
Right,
it's that the
right.
nature of his app and what that nature entails, that that is of
I
non.
would love it if I could anytime something happens, let's say like whether it's an assassination attempt or something happens, or even if there's a school shooting and then there's stuff that shows and you end up seeing unfortunate 7-year-olds die or whatever else, like I want to see the scene. I want to see what's going on. I want to feel the gravity of it all.
I wanna
Like I want
understand it.
access to that.
Yeah.
Even though it seems, I mean, it can definitely be seen, it can be used in disrespectful ways, and it's not. I don't want
Well,
to be
it's
censored for
reality.
saying it. I want to be an
Don't
adult.
like you said, don't tell me what I
Yeah.
can and can't see, what I can and can't handle, you know? Um, but so, I guess, there's so much that we're gonna end up having to skip because I can't keep going too much longer. I gotta
Yeah, that's fine.
get on this
We,
food.
we, we can catch up.
But I do just want to say kind of like how crazy it was, that how easy it was for the narrative to just kind of flip and brush that assassination attempt under the rug, as if like, we're not really gonna think about this. And what I've kind of noticed, here's what I've noticed, is that like all these Democrats, who I think all of the Democrats who got super pissed off are simply just they're voters who vote blue no matter who. They really don't give a shit. They had an opportunity to bitch, moan, and yell about their opposition. So they did that. They just
Mhm.
blah 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 blah. Um, fuck. I was just saying something. Um, I hate my brain farts sometimes. Actually, I hate my brain farts all the time. Um, what was it? It was like the Democrats. Like they don't care who it is. So I guess I don't even know where I was going, but this is where
So
I'm
I don't
taking it.
think anyone knows enough to care about anything other than their team winning. No one really knows enough details
And I think that I
than the
remember
regular
now.
plebs.
I remember now. And so now that their people are in power, they don't want to hear anything from anyone about anything. They don't want any of it. But I think that what's going to end up happening is that if Trump wins, and if they want to come out of the woodworks and say, "Oh, I got a complaint about this. I want to get a complaint about this," it's just like, you can shut the fuck up. I really don't care what you have to say. You didn't care about anything that was going on under Biden's administration. You are purely and simply just blue no matter who. Me talking to you politically, unless I actually like care about you, you know what I mean?
I've just cut off
It
everybody at
doesn't
work.
it doesn't make any difference. They're
I've
not
cut off everyone at
invested
work from
in an
talking about
actual
politics.
conversation.
At work, I gave him a talking down to, basically, because the group of people I hang out with in the morning they're just ignorant, and they always grill me and put me in a
Yeah.
defensive position of having to answer for everything in the world and knowing the answer, and
They don't know
all my
anything.
answers are all new information to them.
Yeah.
They don't know anything, right?
Right.
And
Isn't
yet
that crazy?
I'm the one that has learned, like, it's like I can tell you what the people you vote for, I can tell you what their positions are and my positions are and which ones I like and don't like. You can't name any of them for
Yeah.
anything. And they are
Accurately.
criticizing me. So
Yeah.
I had this conversation with them, and I told them, say, and like, if the invisible spaghetti monster from the sky came down and told you all the things I said were true, you'd still vote for the other guy.
Yeah.
It's like, it doesn't matter what I say.
Doesn't
So
matter.
therefore, I'm not going to talk to politics to you ever again,
useless.
unless you are the one with the information and you want to try to explain your position. And so I said, I'm not going to do it. So every time it's come up since
Yeah.
then, like 2 weeks ago,
I don't
I'm like,
care.
not doing it.
I don't
Not doing
care
it.
if somebody wants to criticize Trump. I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
I would have to know if somebody voted for Trump in 2020, I would take their criticism into account. Other than that, you lost me. You lost me from the get go, because it's just if you've been writing that narrative this whole time,
They don't know anything.
yeah,
They
they don't, and I think it's purposeful, because there's people in my life. There's people in my life where I'm interested in talking and having a discussion about these things, but like you said, every time I talk to them, I am bringing new information.
Mhm.
And if what's happening is I'm the one who's bringing new information, that information needs to get verified by their own internal system, right? And if I haven't built up that trust in that department to allow them to accept what I say, then that stuff is just going to whatever I say kind of gets put in a box and it gets set aside. And what ends up happening is um, that box never gets looked at because they have no interest in learning anything. There's no interest in learning
the new
or
information that I'm
understanding.
bringing is not just about my side. It's about the position that their candidate takes. Like,
Right.
they don't know anything about their own arguments other than they feel a certain way about
Yeah.
something.
And that's the
They
whole thing with Kamala Harris. It's all a vibe. Her whole thing
Yeah.
is running off of a vibe, and I don't think it's going to be able to maintain.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to drag it out further. You got food to make,
Yep.
and
All right.
I'm just gonna watch some cheesy show.
Do it. We'll do another one of these really quick, so we can get our part 2 and move on, because
Sure.
we only got to the first assassination attempt.
So I can do it any day. It can be tomorrow. It could be the next day. Whatever. I'm basically anytime, and I'm off Monday and Tuesday, so it could be anytime during those days. So
Okay. We'll be in contact. We'll figure something out, but soon.
all right.
All right. Later, man.